Hello everyone. Today we will talk about Zero Trust. Zero Trust is a security strategy that recommends that implicit trust should not be granted to a user, a device, or an application based simply on some of their properties like network location or work group. Over the next few minutes, I will explain exactly what Zero Trust means for your organization and how you can kickstart this security strategy in your environment. But before we dive right in, let's be clear on what Zero Trust is not, because the term Zero Trust is widely abused in cybersecurity product marketing. Despite what you may be hearing from some vendors, Zero Trust is not a specific piece of technology, it's not a compliance framework, or a specific all-in-one product or service that you can just go out there and purchase. There is no silver bullet when it comes to Zero Trust. Rather, Zero Trust is a security strategy that has three core principles. You may ask, what are the problems addressed by Zero Trust security strategy? Well, first of all, Zero Trust security strategy helps improve security posture in today's hybrid cloud environment and remote workforce. In our traditional corporate networks, we have network perimeters clearly defined by network firewalls in the corporate offices and data centers. Those network perimeters have moved in so many ways in today's networks because employees are probably working more from home than they are working from the office, and because companies have adopted hybrid cloud model and moved the applications and workload to the public cloud. So it's increasingly complex challenge to clearly define the network perimeter. Secondly, any security model based on the concept of trust is hugely flawed and needs to be addressed, especially in today's digital age where threat actors are finding it easier to exploit our systems and networks more than ever before. This brings me to the three core principles of Zero Trust. The first core principle of Zero Trust is continuous verification. Continuous verification means no implicit trust from both inside and outside corporate network, and this is predicated upon the principle of never trust, always verify. Just because someone is inside your corporate network does not mean the person should be trusted, or that he or she has no malicious intentions. Each time a subject like a user, device, or application tries to make a new connection, the connection attempt should be thoroughly authenticated and authorized, and not allowed or trusted because it is initiated from within the corporate network. A good way to implement continuous verification is to use risk-based conditional access to ensure that workflow is only interrupted when there is a change in risk levels. Strong policies are at the core of Zero Trust and will help you secure a mobile workforce while enabling productivity. The second core principle of Zero Trust is least privilege. Implementing least privilege means granting users and applications only minimum access they require to effectively perform their task and nothing more. Many attacks leverage overprivileged service accounts, as they are sometimes not monitored and are often granted excessive permissions. Just like other user accounts, it's critical that these service accounts are granted minimum access they require to perform their task. Privilege access management is a good way to implement least privilege for admin users. Third core principle is to assume breach. Simply put, prepare for the worst case scenario to secure the best. Build a robust incident response plan. Test and rehearse the plan so that if an attack occurs, the time to respond will be swift. Design your system such that attack on one discrete component does not impact other components within reasonable risk assumptions. For example, apply a networking principle like micro-segmentation. Use telemetry and analytics to improve visibility and speed up detection, and improve protection across your user identities, applications, devices, and networks. So, where do you start your Zero Trust security journey? Where do you start implementing those three core principles of Zero Trust security strategy that we just talked about? Gartner recommends that organizations looking to implement Zero Trust security strategies start with 2 network security projects, because TCP/IP network was built a long time ago to connect people and organizations, and trust could be assumed at the time with no authentication or authorization. Let's go through the 2 recommended projects to start your Zero Trust adoption. First project is Zero Trust Network Access, ZTNA. In the traditional networks, when users physically leave the corporate network, remote access VPNs are used to extend corporate network to the users. The challenge with this approach is that if attackers steal users' credentials, they will gain access to the corporate network and masquerade themselves as the legitimate user without raising any red flags. With ZTNA, access is abstracted and centralized, and access is granted based on identity of users and their devices, as well as variables such as device posture, time and date, geolocation, and historical usage pattern, resulting in a more secure and resilient network with improved flexibility and better monitoring. In the recent past, you may have read media headlines that VPN is dead, but I say no to that notion. VPN is not dead. ZTNA strategy typically augments VPN, not replace it. Implementing split tunneling for your VPN and adopting cloud-based ZTNA solutions will help reduce load on your VPN infrastructure and improve security and user experience. As workload and applications move away from on-premise to public cloud, security needs to move as well. Second recommended project is identity-based segmentation, also called micro-segmentation or zero-trust segmentation. It is an effective way to reduce lateral movement of attackers in a network once they've gained access. Identity-based segmentation will break the network into secure zones with default deny model and ensure that a user or device with access to one secure zone will not be able to access any other secure zone without a separate authorization. That way, impact of a successful attack is minimized. Start your identity-based segmentation strategy with your crown jewel. By that, I mean a collection of most critical applications and systems in your environment. Monitor progress and then scale out to less critical applications and systems. Finally, after adopting ZTNA and identity-based segmentation by completing both projects we just discussed, you can move on and adopt other zero-trust strategies in your environment. Things like multi-factor authentication, data encryption in the cloud and in transit, as well as remote browser isolation, to name a few. This brings us to the end of the video on Zero Trust Security Strategy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, please add them to the comment section below.